big theme that I thought of yesterday was, on Houston's perspective, do we have a problem there? And, an interesting statistic. In the Super Bowl era, teams are 6-175 in games that they've given up 8+ sacks, and it was 10 penalties. And now they're 7-145.
Yeah.
And that team was the Tennessee Titans. That, to me, and Houston in dramatic fashion, of course, with Stroud running out of the end zone at the end of the game. Who knows what the hell he was doing there. But they have a problem.
They do. And how about Fairbairn, Mr. Consistent, broke a record for 50-yard field goals in that game, goes and misses a 28-yarder to tie the game. And you brought up the sacks. Number one, CJ in the second half did not have a good job throwing the ball. He had 2 touchdowns and about 140 yards in the first half. It looked like he was going to throw for four touchdowns and 300 yards in the second half. But give credit to Tennessee. Whatever adjustments they made defensively, they got after Stroud. They made things very hard for him. He threw 2 interceptions in that second half, and as you said, sacked 8 times, ran out of the end zone. They had
3+ turnovers. Oh, terrible.
They couldn't run the ball. Joe Mixon has kind of been the constant, right, on that team. They couldn't run the ball with Joe Mixon the whole game. So I think we do have a problem, Colin. For some reason, the offensive line is not up to snuff this year. C.J. Stroud, I don't think has confidence in his arm. I think he's second-guessing himself, something he didn't do last year. Is the book out on him? Possibly. Could we see another quarterback, maybe like Jaden Daniels, struggle in his second year? Sure. But circling back around to Stroud, I don't know if they win a playoff game. I don't know if they go to the playoffs.
Not at this rate.
Right.
No.
You really have to start to question if this is a playoff football team, something you weren't asking yourself 4 weeks ago.
Now, they have an easy schedule, and they could probably get away with it with splitting a bunch of these games. They have Jacksonville this coming week on top of that. But to your point about it, is the book being out on Stroud? Here's the problem with what they do. They rely entirely too much on Stroud being a hero in order to succeed. Stroud needs to play the most miraculous hero ball, 3rd and long, make something happen ball you've ever seen in your entire life in order for them to be successful. That is Houston's problem. That is what the Texans do incorrectly that they relied on last year and it worked. And now they're relying on it once again and it's not working. They don't necessarily take a book out of the Shanahan offense and take advantage of the 1st and 2nd downs. They're usually relying on the 3rd and longs in order to make something happen. And that calls a very stagnated offense. There's no methodicalness to how they orchestrate drives. And then all of a sudden, when Stroud is asked to do a little too much, that's where you're prone to turning the ball over. And that's what you're seeing with Houston. A major problem from them. Tennessee stinks. Let's call it like we see it. You're losing to Will Levis and company with some of the worst special teams I've ever seen from Tennessee's side of things. 32-27 final, an ugly one at that. You know who's playing well, shifting off